Hey there, what's up? I'm Anthony Tresca. Welcome to this episode of Spooky Scraps, where we take a horror property, find something weird or obscure about that, and then we just talk about that instead. Joining me today to talk about 2020's One Cut of the Dead, Mission Remote, is none other than Dr. Katherine Troyer.
Huzzah! I'm so excited to talk about this. I'm so glad you found it and that you knew that we needed to watch it because it was a delightful companion piece to the film.
Yeah, I think that it really complements the style of One Cut of the Dead very well. It's clearly not the same thing in the sense that it is not a one-cut film this time around. Instead of being one cut, it is on Zoom, which is a significant downgrade to anyone knows who has already used Zoom or has attempted to use the platform to create anything on. It is not nearly as good of a medium as film.
And so we lose the one cutness, right? But we retain the impossible task by producers who don't really care at all how it gets done. They just want it to get done. And even after it gets done, they may not care that it's been done.
Exactly.
And so we get to keep all of that. And we also get to keep these people who are like, okay, this is our job. It doesn't make any sense, but we're going to do it anyway. And we're going to do the best we can because gosh darn it, we are professionals. And so I'm glad that it kept, right, the like soft inner core that is one cut in this particular sequel.
Yeah, I mean, it is taken another genre that has been beaten to death. This kind of true crime. Look at this weird story we're gonna investigate and exploit the violence from in order to get you, our viewer, off. Nature of the true crime genre, it does the same thing for that it did for the zombie film.
And just like with the zombie film, it's like the weirdest possible foray into the genre, right? Like the tickler. It's just so bizarre.
I would recommend watching if you want to see a real true crime documentary about tickling itself. There is an incredibly weird film that, even though I'm warning you now that it's weird and bizarre, whatever you're thinking of is wrong. It's a film called Tickled that actually goes into the weird true crime natures of the underground tickling ring, which is weird. It's a weird sentence, but I just wanted to throw that out there in case anyone was inspired by when they saw the tickling in this.
Every time you bring up this documentary, I just make a point to not watch it again, right? Like I'm never going to watch it, but every time you mention it, I'm like, oh yeah, that film does exist, and that film is definitely on my I don't think I'm prepared for this list. And I think it's so funny, right, for this particular film that this is the true crime that they've chosen, one that is about this really weirdly intimate touch, because of course no one can touch each other. And some of the funniest moments in Mission Remote were when they were self-tickling themselves, and it was very clearly what it would look like if it was your hand. And that was so funny because we've tried so hard in this pandemic, understandably, but we've tried so hard to keep things the way they are normally, right? To retain the sense of normalcy. But we've been trying to do so by applying a system that doesn't allow for the same forms of expression, right? We keep saying, oh, if we just put this play onto Zoom, it'll be the same, no problems. I mean, yeah, it'll be a little different, but not noticeably so. And every moment in this film just proved that wrong, right? There's the moment where the wife is like, but shouldn't, or I forget if it was the wife or the daughter, but someone was like, shouldn't the background match a little? And they were like, don't worry about it. Keep going.
Yeah, I think, and one thing I didn't really even know I wanted to see was just all of the same characters come back again. It was a delight. It was weird that I felt so attached to these characters from this film. I had no idea that I wanted to see more from them, but seeing them again, it was I think maybe this guy should just be given free reign to take this cast and just do these types of films with various overdone film trope genre things.
Yes.
Like
the moment I realized I was really unexpectedly invested was when we realized that, because this isn't actually a family, they don't reside together. And so they were going to have to offer an explanation for why the husband and wife weren't together. And I was like, you better not be telling me that they're getting a divorce. And then, he gave another explanation. I was like, oh, good. And I felt it seemed strange to me to have such high stakes, but you're right. The characters are so lovable in that original film that you just want to keep seeing them have these quirky adventures. Like, I want to see a Western next.
Let's see a heist movie. I want to see
a
these
sci-fi. Yes,
exactly. Any of these overdone genres, let's just throw them in there, because, I mean, if they can make something on Zoom palatable and work, I really think they can make it work anywhere. Because I'm as someone who has done quite a bit of Zoom theater, I can tell you that most of the time it does not work out nearly as well as you think it is going to. And so the fact that they were able to execute this whole thing using mostly Zoom and entirely remotely is impressive and a feat worthy of celebration in of itself.
And I appreciated the female producer. The actress is phenomenal, right? She just cracks me up.
And, chef's kiss.
Yeah. And from the moment where she's like, we're gonna emote, and then everyone's confused. But I loved that moment when she was like, we need more tickles. And then and just to see, then they were like, but I only know 40 other people. It was just so adorable, again, because so much of what makes One Cut a valuable film is this idea of the tension that we the audience don't see between what the producers are telling filmmakers need to happen and what filmmakers know can actually be done or should be done. And we've talked before about how Ari Aster has had some conflicts with his vision versus the vision that other people wanted, to the detriment of the film, but we get to see it in this really delightful way in Mission Remote.
And while it's not a horror thing, and so it is a little bit different than the kinds of things that we normally talk about, I'm glad we kind of got to watch this. I thought it was a lot of fun. And
the other thing this film did that's just very similar to the first one that touches on the sort of horror, if you will, is that at about 20 minutes into the 26th, the film has ended, right? And I was like, okay, but there's 6 minutes left. What are they going to do with that? And the scene where they all just kind of sat there, and it felt very authentic when the one character broke down and started crying about just needing to escape this horror that is the pandemic that surpasses anything that we will ever see on film. And then that beautiful line of "I'll see you on set." I was like,
that was.
I almost started tearing up. And then we have the awkward Zoom exits, which anyone who has done Zoom knows that it takes about 10 minutes to get off Zoom, even when you've only been talking for 4 minutes. It's just the worst. And so they built all of that in, and that was just delightful start to finish.
Yeah, the scene, it was a remarkably emotional final scene where it just kind of this plea to get back to making films again and being back on set again. And yeah, it was a really sweet kind of addition to the excellence that is One Cut of the Dead. So all in all, super glad we got to watch it.
Me too.
Have you all seen this film? If not, you should definitely check it out. If you have, please let us know what you thought of One Cut of the Dead, Mission Remote, down in the comments below.
And we will, of course, have future spooky scraps to entertain you. But in the meantime, we hope that you have a spooktacular day.
じゃあ、また、現場で。